Okay, I just want to make a quick video to show how the air is not moving quite the way I want it to right now with the personal HEPA filter. Now, the theory here is that we have a higher air velocity on the outer side of the cone. See, the nozzle is going to send the air in a sort of a conical shape. And that's supposed to prevent the air from mixing and diffusing and getting from the outside to the center where your face is going to be. It also reduces the air velocity around your eyes, which helps just for comfort, while giving you relatively good protection, hopefully. Now, I just want to show you, on one side, it's doing mostly what I want it to do. If I go like this, see? The dirty air gets blown away from the middle. Let's turn that light off, which is what we want. See? So that's working. So what I have to do is look at what's going on there and try to duplicate it on the other sides, because on the other side, it does not work as well. See, the angle is different, and the gas tends to diffuse over this way quite a bit. Now, I can show you what happens on the other sides, but it's even less interesting. So what's going on here is that the velocity of the air exiting the fan in this rectangular region here is different for the different areas. And so the velocity at the nozzle ends up being different, even though the nozzle is symmetrical and all that stuff. And this is the original nozzle that I made first with just a couple minutes of work, and it turns out that it works that's the best one, which is kind of annoying. I've got like 10 different nozzles, and this turns out to be the best one of all. So all my efforts to improve it didn't work very well. But I have a plan now. I'm going to move the intake to different regions to capture the air of equal velocity in different areas. I'm going to keep this screen. I'm going to go back to that instead of using this 3D printed approach with the diffusers, which does work, but it slows the air down a lot. And I might go back to the 3D printed one later, but and then I've got to make the whole thing a little bit longer vertically so that the air has a longer distance to flow through the channel that'll suppress turbulence and help redirect the airflow direction a little better. So that's my 3-point plan to try to get some progress. Now these filters here, I thought they weren't going to be any good when I saw them because they look too small, but they actually have a really low pressure drop. They don't impede the airflow very much. So we're getting a lot of airflow right here. Now the question is, do you even need a nozzle? Like, what happens if I just leave the nozzle off entirely? And I'll show you what happens. And this is why a nozzle is necessary. And no, you can't see that very well. Okay, let's put it over here. You can see how the air just goes right into the middle of the nozzle, or sorry, into the middle of the airstream and just diffuses around. So you're getting very little protection there. I mean, it is diluting the smoke, but what we want is like a clean air zone in the middle. That's going to give you a protection of factor of 15 or something like that. So I think that is possible. We are seeing it working on one side of the nozzle, and this is on medium, right? So the more you turn up the whole device, the more protection you get, because you get more airflow and it tends to flush the dirty air away a little faster. It's not too loud. I hold it like this. The microphone is being covered before. It seems loud in this environment, but as soon as you take it into a grocery store, for instance, you can't even hear it at this level because of the background noise. So yeah, obviously it's always nice to have it quieter, and at least half the noise is just motor noise, which doesn't even need to be there. But it's reasonable. And you see it's quite a bit bigger than it needs to be. Like, those filters are obviously much bulkier than they need to be. That big spacer there in the middle is, if you design the filters differently, you don't need that to begin with. You could definitely do a better job on a lot of stuff there if you could make things from scratch. The fan itself could be a lot smaller and better. So I'm sure you can make this thing like half the size at least. But it's just a prototype to show the airflow patterns above all. That's the main thing. Because if we can get an airflow pattern that works, gives you a good protection factor, then you could focus on shrinking the rest of the device and make some progress eventually. But if you can't get a good airflow pattern, then the whole idea is kind of shot. But I think we can see that it is working on half the nozzle. So Oh, the other thing is that you have to put it on, and you have to wear it with your face in the middle, and we'll have to see how the airflow moves around your face, which is not quite the same when it's in isolation. But I think a good first step is to get it working in isolation, and then we'll move forward with that.